Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Illustration Department podcast. My name is Giuseppe Castellano. In this podcast, I talk to folks in illustration, graphic design, publishing, animation, and other creative fields about their work, the lessons they've learned, and the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. In this episode, my guest is award-winning illustrator and instructor Gérard DuBois. Illustrating a text takes more thought than some folks think. So much so that, as Gérard points out, illustration requires gymnastics of the mind. Among other topics, Gérard talks about his 25-year award-winning run. He explains how he approaches complex editorial assignments. And Gérard lays out what it takes for your illustration career to get rolling. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
We have to learn each time, and there's new devices each time, and there's new technology each time, and it's a lot of time also to get into it and to see how you can handle it and what you can do with it. And but this is also time you do not spend on learning just other things, and sometimes that's the frustrating aspect.
Oh, for sure.
But it's nice to have it.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I'm not anti-technology unless people are using the technology to literally steal the intellectual property of artists. Then that's a different story.
It's something else.
I'm not anti-technology. It's just that I wish it were a little bit simpler, a little bit more intuitive, not as frustrating. Like I don't like the idea of being in a good mood and then having to use some sort of technology for work, and then the technology doesn't work and it puts me in a bad mood.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand. I have this kind of thing when I had to change my computer last year. And I was really doing great with CS5. It was perfect for me. I didn't need, anything else. And then I have to change, I have to update to the new Adobe, Photoshop and everything.
Right.
And I hate it,
Me too.
But that's the way it is, At some point, I guess we have to learn it. And maybe it's a way also, to stay, I don't know, we don't have to embrace everything, but it's a way also to keep a young mind.
Mental agility.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you talk with, I can see with the students I have.
Right.
I think they can still relate to what I say, but I guess I say it, in other words that, someone that would be, younger first.
Sure.
And also, sometimes I'm happy to know a little bit about the technology. So I'm not, I do not look completely, I don't know, from outer space or something.
Yeah. Or like a boomer or something. Yeah, I hear you. By the way, did you know, I assume you did or do, did you know that there's also a pastry chef and a street photographer, two different people, who are both named Gérard DuBois? Yeah,
it's pretty. It's not John Smith, but it's pretty common. DuBois.
It's pretty close.
DuBois is really. Gérard is less common. I would say Gérard is more like Gary, and even
Gary
there,
DuBois.
Yeah, it's. I don't have so many people my generation called Gérard. It was really the name of my uncle, and because he passed away and he was a friend of my father and everything. Also, my parents decided to call me Gérard, but it's really not the kind of first name you have in my generation. But I know the photograph, not personally, but I know his existence because when I first wanted to have my website, that's when I discovered that the name was already taken.
That explains that.
Yeah.
That's why your website's G DuBois.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that explains that one. Yeah. For half a second, I thought, are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, great. He also does great pastries and photography as well, in addition to literally everything you've done in illustration for the last 5 years or whatever.
I think there's some kind of champagne too.
Get out of here.
No, it's true. I think so.
That's what I would be drinking. If it was a champagne or a Prosecco, I prefer Prosecco. Exactly. No offense.
Yeah. No, it's
Giuseppe
okay.
Castellano, I'd be down. Yeah. Giuseppe is an old-fashioned name.
Yeah.
And I was named after my great uncle.
Okay.
And my father, both named Giuseppe. In Italian culture, I'm not sure if French culture is the same, but we're all named after each other, basically.
Yeah,
or at least we were up until recently.
Yeah, it was a tendency. I don't know if it's still the case, but it's true. Or at least the second first name you have, on your Baptist something, most of the time people have 2 or 3 first name. And so usually, you have, the one of your grandfather or grandmother or something.
So,
it happens.
Right. So I'm no longer Catholic, but I grew up Catholic. And one of the sacraments is confirmation.
Yeah.
When you're confirmed, you have to pick a saint's name as your, sort of Catholic name. And mine is Clement.
Oh, yeah.
Clemente.
Okay.
After my grandfather, or so I thought. So apparently my mother's father, my grandfather, everyone called him Clemente.
Okay.
Hey, Clemente, come va? And so I was like, well, I'll honor him because he's cool, and I'll pick St. Clement.
Okay.
Months go by, maybe even years. I don't know how we got on the subject, but I was talking to my parents about it. And I was like, oh, non Clement. And they were like, yeah, but his name is not Clemente. You know that, right? No. What's his name? Constantino.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, so you let me name myself after St. Clement. You could have easily have said, no, that's not Nono's name. Uh-huh. But you didn't. And they're like, oh, I don't know. We just thought you liked Clement.
Yeah. That happens.
Anyway.
So were you living in Italy, or you were always?
No, I did live in Italy for a little bit when I was a teenager, but no, I don't live there. I live in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah.
Food's not as good.
Okay. I knew you were in the United States, but I wasn't sure if you came, because I came, when I was 21, I think I came from France here, in Montreal.
Montreal. You still live there, right?
Yeah. It's really like I'm on the other side of the river, so it's like I don't know, 10 minutes by car from downtown.
Yeah,
it's
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we could talk a little politics if we wanted to. United States versus Canada.
Yeah.
Let's not. Let's talk about illustration instead. So, is it true that at one point in your career, you went on a 25-year run in which you won at least one award every year for your work?
Yeah, I think it's true.
That is true.
Yeah. I think I got the first time I got an award was back in '94, if I remember well. At that time, I was not participating either in a Society of Illustrators or American Illustration. And since that time, I think I've been in CA all the years except 2 times, and this year because I didn't participate. But most of the time I'm there. And since I've participated in American Illustration, and I think it was the 17th, I think I've been in it, each year. And sometimes I had, many of them. So, yeah, I mean, it was really a good way to be known, My clients at the time were more, like inside magazines or, editorial that not everybody was, necessarily looking at. And so I guess I was more known because of this contest than because my work was seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, when I worked in publishing, a lot of the editors would, and we would too, art directors as well, and designers, but editors specifically, I remember thinking how often they would come to us with a magazine, like the New Yorker or Time or whoever, open to a certain page, and they would say, look at this illustration.
Yeah.
Do you know who this illustrator is? No, I don't, or yes, I do. And they would reach out to the illustrator or ask us to reach out to the illustrator and ask to see if they wanted to do a children's book.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like when at the beginning I was mostly working with more, not underground magazines, but the kind of magazines that were not, big magazines.
Yeah, not big
you're not that seen. Your work is not that seen, even if it's, valuable or it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But at the moment I've been in CA, I think the day after Penthouse called me.
I'm not familiar with Penthouse.
No, I know. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm sure, but it was nice to see that this kind of visibility got you jobs.
Right. In spite of everything that you've won, medals at the Society, the Hamilton King Award a couple of years ago. Congratulations. The Victoria and Albert Illustrator of the Year. So many others. Self-doubt I understand, remains a constant for you.
I guess it is, for everybody. To me, I don't. Each time I talk to another artist, could be a musician, could be an illustrator, could be whatever. We always doubt. It's never done. We always see, our weakness. We always want to, I don't know, to do something, to accomplish something, not for the fame or anything, just, trying this time to draw correctly a hand. It's just as simple as that. And sometimes I start an image and I don't even know how I will start it. And I said, how I do usually, it's just always trying to achieve, an image I'm happy with and I'm a little bit surprised with. Have the feeling at the end of the day that I've accomplished something that was, I don't know, not valuable, but I had pleasure in it.
Yeah, there it is, right there. That's the word.
Yeah.
So I was talking to an illustrator yesterday about this. I equated the up and down nature of creativity, of whether or not we, on any given day, we could feel really good about how we draw and paint, and the very next day we completely forget how to draw and paint.
Mm-hmm.
I think our job is to make that up and down wave a little flatter, but I don't think it ever gets flat. It's not something that we can really control. I sort of equated it to I have 3 teenagers, and I equated it to their moods.
Mm-hmm.
On one day, they are the sweetest, kindest, funniest, wonderful child, and the very next day, they're not. So it just is. It is what it is. I mean, it just comes and goes. I think creativity has that kind of a personality. It has a teenage personality. It goes up, it goes down. It's
yeah, of course.
Flooded with hormones. It's flooded with growth and discovery and uncertainty and all of those things that make those teenage years a little bit more volatile than like maybe adult years. Which I'd rather it be that way because the highs are really high and the lows are low, but the spikes are really high, and as opposed to maybe down the line if you don't go for try something new or you don't push yourself even further, you can just kind of settle back into the tried and true or whatever. You may not feel the lows as hard, but you won't really grow as much.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of after that, what's your character is, what you're looking for exactly. Me, right. I didn't, I never thought I want to react this way. I never thought whatever, I just. I'm happy, to have been able, to make a living out of illustrations. I never thought it would be possible, but I can just be the way I am. And it's true that that's what I said to my students, for sure, the better you'll get, the more experience you'll get. Even on your bad days, you'll be able to do something that is correct and you can get away with it with your client. It's fine. But it's true that I want more in a way that I want this kind of thrill of, looking for something, even if it's frustrating, even if it's, a long way to get where I want to go with this image or this specific image. I will try it. I will be frustrated. But at the end, maybe I won't be that happy, but this is the process that I'm looking for. It's the same when I sketch for ideas or whatever, That's the way I am, I'm not saying that's the best way, as you said, maybe sometimes to go for the, flatter line. It's better for at least your up and downs, but this is the way I react. So I can't help it.
Yeah. I mean, I think self-doubt leads illustrators to overreact, I find. Me too. Yeah. I do too. I have self-doubt and I overreact to my self-doubt a lot. I met with another illustrator who thinks that she's not good enough in spite of her beautifully crafted work.
Mm-hmm.
And she received a terminal degree in illustration. So she's well educated in the field and she does gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. After I gushed on one of her pieces, she shared that since it didn't receive a certain number of likes on freaking Instagram, that it wasn't good. Not that it wasn't good. that too, but also she wasn't good.
Yeah.
To which I said, of course, stop judging how good you are based on how many fucking likes you get on Instagram. Pardon my language, Gerard. Pardon my French. I had to throw that in there. Anyway, so you know what I'm saying? And so like you're an educator, right?
Yep.
I'm sure social media and the pressures of social media on illustrators comes up a lot. You've talked about it quite a bit in other interviews and whatnot. What do you say to that?
I mean, yeah, for sure. You know, it is something you have to learn to live with, because it's a good way to get, you know, jobs and seen or work seen and everything. Right. But you have to step away from that, you know, in the sense that I have doubt, but I'm not overreacting that much. Mm-hmm. To me, it's a part of of our job, you know. I see that as someone, you know, a woodcarver or someone, you know. We're just, you know, people, you know, doing things with our hand. We have a job that is, I think, fulfilling, and that is really a creative kind of jobs and everything. A lot of frustration come with that, but it's a part of the job, and we can deal with that. Now, it's true that when you get to show your work on Instagram or whatever you know, the thing is, it's true that all of a sudden it's like showing to a lot of person and waiting for some, you know, feedback. And that's where, you know, it has changed a bit. At some point, it was just a way of showing our work and, okay, look, you know, you'll see how I work. And now we are expecting a lot of feedback, a lot of and that could be really, really difficult for someone, not only for starters, but also for accomplished artists. Because
I'm in that camp. I'm in there too.
Yeah, because it's addictive
by design.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a huge problem. Personally, the only thing I do trying to protect me, because I'm like everybody, for sure, you know, this is a part of our everyday, you know, business life. Mm-hmm. I put out all the notification. I turn down all the notifications. So I have to connect, you know, to see something.
Oh my God, me too. I have a Patreon, and when I first started it, the notifications for every movement were on. So I would get notifications for when people signed up, which was a nice little confidence booster, a nice little dopamine hit. But I'd also get notifications when people canceled their subscriptions.
Yeah.
And man, again, talking about like turning from good mood to bad mood on a dime. Yeah. I'd be sitting there minding my business in a good mood. I don't know, watching TV on a couch or something. And I get notifications like, you know, Joe Schmo canceled their subscription. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So I turned all of that off.
But if you remember, you know, it was pretty much the same thing when we were all expecting, you know, the answers from Communication Arts or American Illustrations, you know, when everybody was participating, and you have to wait. It was not even, you know, an email, you know, it was either, if I remember, it was a letter or something, or you didn't get any answer, I guess, even when you were not taken.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, discussing at the time with people that were not, you know, selected. It was a really big down, you know, like, okay, I'm not good. They didn't pick my images and everything. So I guess all the contests, all the grants, all the things, you know, where there's some kind of competition, it requires to have a little distance from that. You know, it's not because we're good this year or because we had an image that has been selected that all of a sudden we're, you know, on the top of everything. You know, I'm grateful I have those, you know, awards and things, but I'm not. I'm not confusing that with the fact that there are so many, you know, amazing illustrators everywhere that I don't even know maybe their work, and that they're at least as talented as I could be or I can be, and they're not in the same, you know, maybe awards things. But so I'm not. We have to take care of that, and I mean to be definitely careful with that.
I could just imagine you, because the communication, for people who don't know what the trophy, I guess, trophy,
whatever.
It's like a tall obelisk, pretty heavy thing. I have one in my house here. keep my door open. No, I'm kidding. But I can just imagine you have so many that you have like a little bowling alley in your house somewhere. You just set them up on one end and you knock them down with a bowling ball.
No. I have one from CA. At some point, my son, when he was younger, he was doing with the little skateboard, but you play with your fingers.
Yeah, fingerboards, I think they were called.
Yeah. So he was doing some kind of ramp, with the trophy.
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense because it's tapered.
Exactly.
Put it on its side. It's a beautiful, perfect ramp for a fingerboard.
Exactly.
I never thought of it that way. Incredible. I mean, look, for people who are listening who are like, well, I don't know, it's easier said than done. I have had this podcast for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding my phone right now. I'm looking. I need to make sure I'm correct on the numbers here. If I judged how good or bad this podcast was based on the frequency of reviews that I get, I would have burned this whole thing to the ground years ago. The last review I received for this podcast was 6 months ago. Wow. Prior to that, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So over the last 2 years, I've received 2 comments on Apple Podcasts for the podcast. Now, if I judged, like if I went like, oh, well, that must mean that the podcast is no good, I would have absolutely quit it.
Yeah.
So you can't judge by other people's reactions. Just because no one is actually saying anything or liking anything doesn't necessarily mean, not necessarily, doesn't mean anything about whether or not your work is good or bad.
I often say to my students, if I had stopped, illustrating, each time people tell me, no, it won't work, it's not for illustration, it's not commercial, it's not this, it's not that, I would have stopped right away.
You need brighter colors. I don't know if you've ever heard that one.
Yeah, of course, my colors are too dark. My work is too this. I mean, I guess every artist, heard that, so many times. But at some point, that's what I tell them, you have to give it a try. If you believe in it, try it because, you don't need to please everybody. You just have to, do what you think and maybe you'll find, your little niche, your little market.
Exactly.
And you'll be happy with that.
This podcast is produced by the Illustration Department, a global leader in online education for illustrators. Visit illustrationdept.com for offerings like mentorships and portfolio reviews, testimonials, our alumni showcase, our best-selling Substack, and more. That's illustrationdept.com. And now, back to our conversation. A piece of advice I often share, but don't really like saying, though it is good advice, is to have fun. It sounds as if that's advice that you follow, regardless of the outcome. Is there a piece of advice about illustration, creativity, productivity that you're not fond of?
I guess there are many advices around there that, could be depending of the person and how they want to handle illustrations, that could work for them. So I don't know if there's one that I really disagree with. What I could see is maybe it's the kind of students I have also at the end of their courses like that, where they have been in more technical courses before mine. The technical aspect, the goal they're looking for is above all, is getting in the way where you lose the fun because you're just trying to achieve this goal. You're just trying to get right away into the technical or into whatever is the Photoshop or Procreate or whatever, and they right away want a result. Yes, you have to learn technical aspects of the job. You have to learn how to paint, how to this. But if I'm fair, I never learned how to paint. Nobody ever gave me, courses on how to handle, a brush. I never had any Photoshop courses. I never had. So I believe in that. So, but this is really just this technical thing. Sometimes when I hear a little bit too much of this kind of advices of getting,
Right.
really into all the new technology, or even
Mm-hmm.
really, really technical aspect. Where I'm more an intuitive guy, and I believe in the error restart, trying to do things by yourself, find your own way.
Mm-hmm.
But above all, yeah, I agree with you. I think it may be it sounds cheeky, but having fun, to me, it's the first thing.
Yeah.
I guess everybody is in this kind of job or business because we love to draw.
Mm-hmm.
If you love it, you have to have pleasure, you have to have fun, you have to if you forget it, for sure at some point you'll be, I don't know, depressed or whatever it is. But or at least you lose your way, because in first place, that's what you were looking for, to have fun and to draw.
Yeah. In 2017, Edel Rodriguez, who was a former art director at Time, said that he would ask you to create illustrations for articles that had nothing to do with your style, just so he could sit back. These are his words now. Just so he could sit back and watch how you would climb out of the trap he'd set, which he said you always did with, quote, pure innovation. Robert Neuman called you a favorite among art directors for your ability to tackle complex issues with simple power and grace. Again, his words. Henrik Drescher, who was a podcast guest a little while back, referred to your ability to conceptualize as crazy, which sounds very much like Henrik. How do you approach particularly complex editorial assignments? What are you hoping to achieve? And before you answer that question, before you answer that question, there is one that you did. I don't know when you did it. I don't know who you did it for, but it was about retirement. And there are 3 items on the page in sort of like stacked vertically, separated. They're not on top of each other. First one is a telescope. Second one is a megaphone. And the third one is a helmet that has like an American flag on the side of it, right?
Yeah.
This piece is about retirement. First image is a telescope. What does that tell you? That we are looking to the future. We're looking to the horizon. The second one is a megaphone, which I'm interpreting as like announcing that you're retired, I suppose. You tell me. And then the third one is a helmet, which I'm interpreting that as get ready for a bumpy ride. So you tell me, like, where is that coming from? And then you can answer that question that I shared, that I posited 5 minutes ago.
I have no idea. I remember this image. It was done with the great art director, Sujin Buzelli.
Of course.
I think it was one of our
Hi, Sujin, if you're listening, and Chris.
Oh, yeah, thank you. But I guess it was either for Plain Spencer or the other publications.
Right.
To be
She's
fair,
in charge of like 6 or 7 of them.
Oh, yeah, no? Okay, so
Yeah.
she's busy.
Yeah, she's busy.
But yeah, no, I don't remember exactly how, all this specific piece, came out. I tried each time, to have a way to, I don't know, to sketch the cliche and then to get, bouncing, from whatever it's an allegory, or all of a sudden, there's a shape that, gets me to somewhere else. Right. And also the link between the title and, but the way you work usually with Sujin also is quite really, really specific, because she knows her articles are quite technical. Mostly about business and
the ups and downs of investing in your 401k. And
exactly. So usually she comes with, it's not either a resume or a synopsis. It's just keywords, couple of ideas of what it is about. Not ideas of what to do, but ideas of what the article is about. So it's like 2 lines and go with that. But in terms of ideas, I don't know. Edel is a little bit, kind with me. Probably some of them were really, really bad.
Maybe you paid him. I don't know. Behind the scenes.
Yeah. I forgot to. But it's just no. I guess it has been, through the years also. I've always been interested into work that was more conceptual, but sometimes more narrative, sometimes more decorative. I always looked at illustration as an applied art in the way that you have to serve, the message, the article, whatever it is,
Right.
and come with your, your own voice, your own art and everything. But still, you had to, work in a way that it will give this message. And to me also, I didn't want it to stay trapped with the same kind of job, each time. So, and I don't know, I'm interested in doing things, either, for business, for medical, for children books, for adults books, this is the kind of thing I like, and I discovered that that I like that. And I try to fold my work, or not in a way that it's not my work anymore, but how can I look at it to make it work for this kind of project.
Right.
It's mostly the way I try to solve things, and for the ideas. There are so many, big, illustrators, that came before me, with many, many great concepts, think about, of course, Brad Holland and people like that, but
Right.
Brian Cronin, there are so many, it's, and even now, you have, many, 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 crazy people out there. I'm always like, how did he think like that? How could she do that? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I know. Well, Chris Buzelli, he's one that does that for me. You see his work, and it's just, you're at first you look at it and you're like, I'm not sure I understand, and then after a minute or two, you're like, oh my god, I totally get what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Scott Bacall.
Yeah, of
I don't know
course.
if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Hey, Scott. Yeah, because I work with a lot of editorial illustrators too, not just children's books, and how one interprets something that's really dry, especially, and turns it into something entirely different, and doesn't act as a mimic, but as a companion to the text, is a tough order. I learned editorial illustration conceptualization from fellow Frenchman Guy Biot, who was a professor of mine at RISD. And his whole thing was you just keep sketching out and making associations after associations after associations until it's down to its core visual communication. You're clearly communicating what it is what the article is trying to get at.
I think he was a master at it, and I completely agree with what he said. That's what I do. Sometimes I can sketch, the whole day just for an image, and I'm not happy at the end of the day. Just to find an idea because it doesn't work. The other thing also I've always tried to have in mind, I'm not saying I've succeeded in it, but I tried to have an image that could stand without the article, without the title, without an image that you could, maybe put on your wall. You know what I mean? Because this is where I come from. This is the kind of thing I had in mind. I really wanted the image to be nice by itself.
Oh, of course. And by the way, if you have a large, limited edition print of the piece that I just described, just lying around your studio floor, in your trash can or something, just roll it up and send it my way. That would be fine. No, I agree with you. And this is debatable. I can absolutely hear the other side of this for sure. And not just with editorial, but also children's books and other illustrations. But I believe I'm of the camp that the piece should stand on its own. It should work with the text and it should work without it.
Yeah, it's a bit more difficult with the children's books because you have text in it, and so the composition has to be a certain way. And sometimes this image is interesting because of the rhythm, but the rhythm of the page before, the rhythm of the page after. So you have to adapt a little bit, but still, even there in children's books, I try to have the same. It's not a dogma, but it's something that I have in me that I try to achieve each time.
Exactly. There's another illustration that I love of yours in which we have two adult males facing each other. One on the right-hand side, if I'm remembering correctly, is wearing glasses. The temple of the glasses is on that guy's head, but the glass is part of the glass is the glasses are extending so far out that they are sitting on the nose of the opposite person.
Mm-hmm.
And the piece is about getting other people to see things the way you see things.
I think it was for...
That's just fucking brilliant. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I think it was for the New York Times when I had the...
Was it for Gray Matter?
I think it was for Gray Matter, from what I remember, because I had in a row.
Which was a column, by the way, for folks who don't know what Gray Matter is. It was a column that you'd done. You illustrated a column for how long was it?
I think it was 2 years or something, but in and out because I was teaching at the same time, and sometimes the deadline was so rushed. I was.
What's rushed? A couple days?
Oh yeah, 2-3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
2-3 days, but with many sketches. Sometimes could be like, I think I have one image that was probably, I don't know, 20 sketches. But final sketches, not just little.
Right.
It was really, it was really. So it was a great adventures and everything. It was with Alexandra Sismondi. I don't know if I pronounce well or
I believe it's Zygmunt.
Zygmundi, yeah, and I follow her also at the New Yorker.
She's at the New Yorker now, right?
I think she's on sabbatical or something right now, or I don't know if she's still there, but. Yeah, I think it was for them. It's a gymnastic, really, of the mind, trying to find, different way to say things. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I tried to avoid as much as I could, people that, were too much in concept or too much in good ideas. I know the work of Brad because it was everywhere, but I was trying not to look too much at it. Like the one from Roland Topor also, all these people, I like their work, but I look at so many different things. At some point, I guess we for sure we have seen so many images that there are things that we have in mind and we don't know
where. Your subconscious. You can't
exactly. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, speaking of looking at things, so Goya is a pretty obvious inspiration source for you. As I was looking through your body of work, I was wondering if you were ever inspired by two very different artists. One of them is Henry Moore. He's a British modernist sculptor. Mm-hmm. I'm taking wild swings. Maybe I'm missing here, but are you familiar with Henry Moore's work?
I know a bit of his work, but no, I've never been into his work now. Sorry.
All right, because there's a certain. No, that's fine. I just wanted to. As I was looking at your work, I'm just making mental notes of that reminds me of. Mm-hmm. What does this remind me of? Henry Moore, like wide organic shapes to create like figurative, not just figurative work, but also figurative sculpture that isn't representational. It's boiled down, down to essential elements, essential forms. And there are a lot of holes in his work, which is something that I see in your work. Yeah. Another is someone that we studied in art school, whoever the heck carved the Venus of Willendorf. This is like way, way deep into like my art history textbook. It's called I think it has a nickname, but it's like basically it's a Paleolithic sculpture about the size of our hand.
Okay.
I think the purpose of it was fertility because it's like a sculpture of a woman who has very round features. And again, like your characters have a sculptural, almost like inflated. They feel like rounder, a little softer around the edges. And this is, anyway, these are some things that were coming to mind for me as I was looking at your work. Uh-huh. There is a sculptural element to the work.
Yeah, I like. I would say, I won't go back, to when I was, in France studying and everything and discovering a little bit of images. But the one that really got me first into sculpture was Maillol. And I'm still,
Maillol. How do you pronounce his first name? Is it Aristide?
Yeah, Aristide.
Aristide?
Yeah. He take off the arm and he just move it a little bit. It was almost like a collage. It was all of a sudden he was changing the balance, he was changing everything. And it's pretty much how I discovered after that. But this is pretty much the way I draw also.
Well, thank you for introducing me to him. I didn't know who he was until researching you.
Yeah,
And then
no,
I came
it's
across
it's
Aristide
impressive.
Maillol, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what is this? Because it's great stuff. The other source that you introduced me to indirectly
Mm-hmm.
is biblioodyssey.blogspot.com.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know who runs that joint, but that website is a treasure trove of visual
it's crazy
goodness and imagery, art, photography, and all sorts of stuff.
No, at the beginning, and even still now, I'm more into arts than necessarily just illustrations. Not that I try to go elsewhere, but at the beginning, I was really more into painting and looking at paintings. So as you said, Goya or Autodix or people like that. I mean, there are many things that I discovered reading about those artists, and then have some make new discoveries because they were talking about someone. I was trying to look at them, but it was a little more difficult at the time because you have to go to the either the bookstores or the library to find books and to see images about those people.
Yeah, I mean that's active learning, which I think is. I don't want to get too. I don't want to go back into like the social media trenches here, but that. Oh my God, I'm going to sound so old by saying this. It's different when you actively go out and look for imagery at a library, at a museum, in a gallery, and so on. If you go out with the sole purpose of looking at other people's work, there's something more. It's healthier, and I think it sticks in the best parts of your brain. What you are learning, what you feel inspired by, and also like diversifying the sources of inspiration, not just other illustrators, but yes, sculpture, architecture, hell, whatever. As opposed to social media that is completely passive. There's zero effort put into it other than scrolling with your thumb. And a lot of the time you don't even want to be inspired. You just want to scroll through for a second while waiting for your coffee to get warmer in the microwave. You know what I mean?
But there's still a way to, you discover someone that is,
right. I'm not saying across the board 100%, but yeah.
Sharing an image by someone. And then, I still do that, I see an image and I say, wow, it's nice. Who is it? And then I type the name and I'll go checking. Yeah. And sometimes it's old artists, and then I go, through images, I go through Wikipedia or whatever to try to, and I have my little files on people.
I guess in moderation, like, yes, that's fine in moderation, but I don't think, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that most people are in this camp. Even if I know that it's bad for me, I don't really scroll Instagram in moderation. Yeah. I'll sit there for a minute because, again, it's designed that way. Yeah. And then at some point I look up, it's 10 minutes later, and I'm like, wait, what the hell? Where am I? How am I in the kitchen? Well, I was in the bedroom 2 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Anyway. So for folks listening who want to get into editorial or children's books or both or fine art or whatever, what would be one other piece of advice outside of what you've already discussed that you'd like to share with them, with the listeners directly?
I guess it's, to try to get as close as possible to those, I don't like the term market, but,
neither do I.
Yeah, to as close to the things you're interested in, as possible. Meaning, sometimes I see with my students, they tell me they would like to do children books, and when I ask them when was the last time, they went to the library or to a bookstores, to check them out, they never. So I guess it's the good advice is just to learn, from the true thing, trying to go to a bookstore, to the library, trying to look at the kind of books you're interested in. If it's for the arts, the same thing, trying to go to the places you like, the kind of gallery you like. Trying to understand how it works. I know it's not always easy, depending if you're in a big city or not, but I think it's a good start, even for editorial. I don't remember who was mentioning that, but a lot of person now do not, open a magazines or a newspaper. So, and it makes a big difference when you have it in your hands. You see an illustration, the impact of an image, it's completely different, and so besides the pleasure you can have, there's also, to follow your own instinct. I really believe in that, and give it a try for a couple of years. And if it's not working, maybe, rethink your plan or whatever, but give it a try for a good 2-3 years, because sometimes that's what it takes to get rolling.
To learn more about Gérard, visit gdubois.com. If you find value in this podcast, consider becoming a patron. In return, you can access bonus episodes, receive invitations to our Art Directors After Hours series, and get a 10% off discount code for all ID offerings. Become a patron by visiting patreon.com/illustrationdept. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.